Well, hi there guys, and welcome back to yet another episode here on Strictly Flying. As always, I hope you're all doing fantastic, and thank you very much for joining me on yet another flight. Today we are at Fortaleza International Airport here in the northeastern part of Brazil, and today we will be flying on the Boeing 737 MAX. We're going to be flying with GOL Airlines, a low-cost domestic airline here in Brazil. And our destination today is going to be the city of São Paulo. São Paulo is located further south in Brazil, and the flying time is roughly 3.5 hours. Now, prior to our departure, we will be heading up and getting something to drink, something to eat. We have some time before our departure yet, and I've already checked in, so I thought I'd show you a little bit around the airport of Fortaleza. Now guys, I'm going to be doing quite a bit of talking in the next few minutes, so if you're not interested in listening to me babbling along, then you can jump straight to the trip report itself. Remember, in most of my videos, I leave timestamps in the description below. So have a look, you can click on the timestamps and you can jump straight to the parts that you enjoy. Now, Fortaleza Airport, or Aeroporto Internacional de Pinto Martins, as it's locally called here, was recently privatized by the German airport company Fraport. And many of you have probably already heard about Fraport if you've ever traveled through Frankfurt International Airport in Germany, and that is where Fraport has its headquarters. And it was in 2018 when Fraport took control over Fortaleza International Airport, where prior to that it had been run by the state-owned company Infraero. And soon after Fraport took control of the airport, they already started to invest, and the airport has since seen a construction of a brand new domestic terminal. Now, many of you are probably wondering why the heck a large German company would ever want to go in and invest such a large amount in a Brazilian airport in the northeast part of Brazil. Well, what I can tell you is that it's absolutely no coincidence that Fraport chose this particular airport. And I'm going to explain why. So to understand the reason behind these investments and the interest of this particular airport, we need to look at the geographical location of Fortaleza. So let's start by simply bringing up a map. And as we can see, the city of Fortaleza is located all the way up in the northeastern part of Brazil. And as you can see, this location is also the shortest route, the shortest direct route to mainland Europe. And for years, Brazil has had basically only two major hubs in Brazil. And both of them are located virtually right beside each other all the way down south, namely São Paulo, the biggest airport in South America, and of course Rio de Janeiro. Now, apart from the fact that both of these airports have already reached their absolute maximum capacity years ago, now think about it, Brazil is a massive country. You know, roughly the size of mainland US. And if you think about it, if you ever travel from Europe to the US, let's say you're going to Miami or going to New York. Now think about it, if your only option was to fly to Los Angeles or fly to San Francisco and then take a domestic flight from any of those cities on the west coast and back again to, let's say, New York or Miami or whatever. You know, you're taking a massive detour, and it's gonna, put a lot of unnecessary strain on those hubs, be it Los Angeles or San Francisco. And of course, this is something that has been going on here in Brazil for decades now. We've only really had these two hubs, and the recent years tourism has just exploded in Brazil. And if you've already watched some of my previous videos, especially the ones that I've taken from Amsterdam with KLM down to São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, some of those videos I've actually shown you that I've been flying straight over my house in Fortaleza. And then I've still got another 3 to 3.5 hours before actually arriving in São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, you know, and then probably 2-3 hour layover, and then get another 3-hour domestic flight back up north again. So if you think about it, I've just wasted like 8-9 hours of travel, unnecessary travel, you know. And of course this puts a larger cost on the ticket itself, on the flight ticket, because of course you need to also purchase a domestic flight to wherever you want to go. So this is the whole point. This is the whole point of why Fortaleza is in such a perfect geographical location, if you look at it as a whole. And of course this is something that has been already planned out for years, and it's just now in 2018 when finally Fraport, they took control and they saw the potential of the location of Fortaleza Airport. And it was also in 2018, in the month of March, when KLM and Air France had their first inaugural flights from the cities of Amsterdam and Paris. And these direct flights became an immediate success. And prior to Air France and KLM's presence in Fortaleza, you basically only had one choice if you wanted to fly directly to Fortaleza, and that was with TAP Portugal, that had a daily flight from Lisbon to Fortaleza. But soon after, other airlines, they started opening up other routes as well, taking advantage of this new hub in the Northeast. So we would suddenly get routes to the US, to Miami, direct flights to Miami, to Orlando, also to Bogota, and also other flights down to Buenos Aires in Argentina. But the most important thing to think about is that we no longer have to take these long detours down via São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro. But we all know what happened in 2020, and of course it's no surprise that most of these routes were cancelled during the pandemic. And it's just now recently that Air France has reopened its route to Fortaleza from Paris. KLM, they're still waiting to see how the situation progresses, but I do expect KLM to be ready to fly again to the city of Fortaleza the coming year in 2022. So at least I'm praying that that happens, because I'm kind of tired of flying via São Paulo. But anyways, guys, that was just my short introduction of this airport and what's been going on here these last couple of years, just prior to the pandemic, during the pandemic, and of course now things are starting to get back to normal. I don't know if all of these roads, if we're going to see all of them, you know, come back next year. Probably not, but at least I'm pretty sure that, you know, KLM will make its return, and Air France will continue as normal. And also heard that Air Europe will start also direct flights from Madrid to the city of Fortaleza. So I'm quite optimistic, and yeah, I'm hoping for the best. But anyways, guys, it is time to get on our flight and time to start off this trip report. So let's get on board and check out our aircraft. So in this new terminal we just passed security and you are redirected straight through the so-called duty-free shops, which are located around most of the airports in Brazil. And they do it this way, you're actually forced to walk through the duty-free shops. However, for those of you, if it's your first time traveling to Brazil, please do yourself a favor and don't buy anything in these shops. It's called duty free or Dufry as they call them. However, they are seriously overpriced and expensive, and it's just a total rip-off. And also, for some reason, all the prices are in US dollars. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because of the Brazilian currency that is fluctuating so much. Maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. If anybody of you guys know the reason for it, you can leave a comment in the comment section below. However, just do yourself a favor, don't buy anything because it's just a total rip-off. Wait until you get to your destination in Europe or in the States or whatever. I'm sure you'll get a much better price. So our flight for today, as I previously mentioned, we're going to be flying on a Boeing 737 MAX 8. This particular aircraft is only 1 year old and has a registration Papa Romeo X-Ray Mike Romeo.
Faz questionamento, por favor. Tá parando aí, melhor lá, já vai puxar o voo. Obrigado, senhor. Bom voo. Fechou a porta.
Now, GOL Airlines, they aren't a part of any alliance. However, they have partnered up with Air France and KLM. And that means that you do get the same benefits as you do with KLM, with GOL Airlines, if you are a member of the Flying Blue program. And that means, like, if you are gold member or platinum, then you do get priority boarding, you get extra baggage, you get free seat selection, etc., etc. So you do have the same perks. However, they are not in the Sky Team Alliance. But even so, when flying with GOL Airlines, if you are a member of the Flying Blue program, then you will still gain experience points and miles flying with GOL Airlines.
Boa tarde, senhor. Posso entrar por aqui, por favor? Acho que é consigo, faça assim.
So, thanks to the generous leg space in the economy comfort section of this aircraft, I was able to squeeze past that older couple, no problem at all. And the best part of all is I can see my bag right there being loaded on board the aircraft, and that is always reassuring.
On behalf of Captain Clovis Sandoval and his cabin crew, welcome you all aboard our Boeing 737 MAX 8 with the service to São Paulo International Airport for GOL flight number 1523. In partnership with Air France and KLM, our flights will last 3 hours and 15 minutes. If the person of Bonanza for takeoff, we ask that you close the panic holder in front of you and unplug any electronics. The USB port will be turned back on as soon as the seatbelt signs have been turned off. Count on us for a safe and enjoyable trip. Thank you.
Vamos nos preparar para a decolagem. We are preparing for takeoff. Please make sure your seat back and tray tables are in their full upright position. Pay attention to the fasten seatbelt signs. You can only open the overhead bins when this warning light is off. Smoking is not allowed on board, and tampering with or disabling the smoke detectors in the lavatories is prohibited. Please read the card with the safety instructions located in the pocket in front of you. In an emergency landing, stay in one of the positions indicated on this card. In an emergency evacuation, leave all carry-on behind. We wish you all a great flight.
Em caso de uma despressurização, as máscaras protetoras faciais deverão ser úteis.
there isn't really much to talk about regarding to the seats in the 737 MAX. I mean, every seat, as you can see, they do have an USB outlet where you can charge all of your appliances, and the leg space is adequate for me at least. I'm quite tall, but keep in mind I'm sitting in the economy comfort section, and if I were to sit in a normal seat, it would be quite cramped and it wouldn't be really comfortable. But apart from that, all these seats, they are pretty standard seats as you would find, I think, on most airlines, most domestic airlines around the world. So I mean, and keep in mind this is a brand new aircraft and it is a MAX, so you know, there's nothing special, but it's totally fine on this flight. Remember, this is a flight 3.5 hours long, and on GOL Airlines there isn't any service whatsoever. So just remember, guys, bring your own food and drinks when you make these longer domestic flights within Brazil. So here we are, guys. After 3.5 hours flight, we finally made it down to the city of São Paulo. Guys, thank you very much for joining me on yet another flight here on Strictly Flying. Now, if you do enjoy my videos, please, a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. So that's it for me, guys. I know it's been relatively quiet from my end these last couple of weeks. However, I can reassure you I've got a lot more flights lined up before the year of 2021 comes to an end. So guys, just stay tuned, and not long from now you should be seeing more content. So I'll leave it at that, and as always, guys, be safe, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Pode fazer ligações e enviar mensagens. Para preservarmos a saúde de todos, o desembarque será realizado a cada 3 fileiras. Pedimos que aguardem seu assento até que seja a sua vez de desembarcar. Quando autorizado pelos comissários, retire sua bagagem do compartimento superior e desembarque com todos os seus pertences para realizarmos a limpeza da aeronave. Clientes com necessidade de atendimento especial devem desembarcar pela porta dianteira da aeronave. O horário do embarque dos clientes com destino a outras localidades será informado por nossa equipe no aeroporto. Por gentileza, fiquem atentos aos avisos sonoros da sala de embarque. Tenham todos uma excelente tarde. Muito obrigado e até logo.